Welcome to the Paper Snob. It is October 1st, and that means it's time for another round of 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life. This is series number 13. I will have a collaborative playlist linked below my video for you to click on. That's where all of the videos for this entire month will be. So you only need to just save that video every day and watch to your heart's content. There are tons of awesome creators in this hop. You will be amazed at how much creativity is involved with these sketches. So I am going to be working with the day number 1 sketch, of course. This designer is Rachel Gilliland, and she created a really cool sketch with lots of hexagons. I have some photos here. These are some bees on a plant in front of a winery that I went to with my husband and sister back in the fall of 2021. I have 2 ink pads. I have a title page and some black thickers. We'll talk about this in a little bit. I have a stencil. And I have some dies. Plus I have my papers, which are Echo Park's Be Happy. This is one of their newer collections. Echo Park is not typically one of my favorite companies. I usually love their paper, not so much with their ephemera. And so I don't have any of the matching embellishments for this collection at all. So I'll be coming up with my own stuff. But here's the 3 pieces of pattern paper I bought, and here are the back sides. They're really, really pretty. Piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and stop here. I'm going to do some die cutting off camera, and then I'll be right back to work on this layout, and I'll see you in a minute. So I am going to be using the stencil and the lightest color of ink on this background. This is Ballet Slipper by Pink Fresh Studio. It is a very subtle pink, and I am just going to kind of spread it all over on this stencil and get some hexagons onto my background. This is how I planned on creating the hexagons that show up in the sketch on the background. With the stenciling. And like I said, this is a very subtle color, so it's gonna really pop against the yellow and the black though. And you must be wondering why I chose pink, since my papers are yellow, black, and blue. Well, I'm pulling that pink from my photos, and I'm just gonna go with it and see how this turns out. So this stencil is actually another one of my favorites. I haven't used it in a while though, and so I'm kind of tickled to be able to get it out. It's actually a chicken wire stencil, but of course I'm using it for the look of a beehive. And I'm only going to put it in 2 places, the place where I just finished, and in this place. And then, again, it's just a really subtle look, and that's kind of what I'm going for. I don't want to overwhelm your eyes with a very dark pink. This very light pink from Pink Fresh Studios is perfect for my purposes. And now I'm going to take that darker color that I pulled out, and I'm going to smush it onto my glass media mat. I'm going to add some water and then take a paintbrush, and I'm just going to add some splatters on this background just to give a little bit more color and the illusion of some texture. So I did take some time off camera to die cut all of my hexagons, and then I used my Tim Holtz Distress tool to distress all of the edges of every hexagon, including the photos. I like to do this because it provides just a little bit of texture, and because the photos seem to disappear on my photo mats initially, I thought that going ahead and distressing the edges of my photo would give your eyes kind of that little bit of a rest in between the pattern papers and the photo. So one of the things that I am doing here is I have butt my background paper up into that lower left corner, and I am using the measurements on my mixed media mat to get my hexagons in the center of my background. So here is that piece of chipboard piece leftovers, and what you see me doing here is I'm going to put it on the back of my middle large hexagon. And I'm doing this in the place of the fun foam that I would normally use. And this is a good way to use up all of the product packaging that we get when we buy products without wasting it all. And it's also saves a little bit on the fun foam, which is sometimes hard to find in stores. I know for a while a friend of mine couldn't find it at all, and then she finally found some. But you can use the backs of your chipboard in place of it, and it works great. I've done it before. Again, this is not my idea. I got that idea from Janet Madison from RTS Scrapbooking. You should check her out. Her channel is awesome. Now you'll remember that I said I don't have any of the matching embellishments for this collection. So what I've done is I've cut smaller hexagons and then even smaller hexagons out of the pattern paper just to kind of create a little bit of embellishments. I have also cut a few of my second photo. I cut 3 small hexagons down as well, just to get more photo on here. And I'm just kind of randomly placing these hexagons on here in a way that pleases my eye. I don't know if it's perfectly pleasing to everybody's eye, but I like the way that I've placed them here. I like how when you look at them, they do cause your eyes to go across the page. I have also cut out a couple of my Illustrated Faith labels for journaling. I found a couple pieces of chipboard. It was actually from that piece of leftover that I used behind my photo, and I'm going to use those little bits and pieces. And my title is going to say Dream Busy Bee. There's going to be only a little bit of journaling on here. To be honest with you, I'm not the one who took this photo. My sister did. I usually don't get that close to bees because I am very allergic, but she took the photo, and I do like bees. I just don't want to get near them because I don't want to get stung. And yes, I understand that if you don't bother them, they don't bother you, but you know, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I really don't want to go to the ER with a bee sting. So anyway, my title is going to be 2 colors and 2 fonts because I used the word dream from that Hip Kit Club set of phrases that I have had in the last 2 of my counterfeit kits. I have not used all of those yet. In fact, I actually just put up the rest of them the other day so that I could pull out stuff for my October counterfeit kit. Now I'm just going to glue all of these pieces down, and again, I don't have a whole lot of embellishments on this layout. I'm just using pattern paper and hexagons to create small embellishments, and you know, another way to include a few more photos. So the next thing I want to do is I want to put some of those black sequins. You saw me spill them earlier. I knocked down my ATG gun and they hit the little triangle of sequins and they went everywhere. That's okay. they're easy to pick up since they're so large. But I'm going to use my new Pink Fresh Studios bling tool and go ahead and transfer these over here onto my layout. I'm going to put a few on here, and then one of the things that I did after I turned the camera off is I decided that I wanted to use some Nuvo drops, and I did add some yellow Nuvo drop, and you'll be able to see that in the close-ups at the end of the video. I just didn't do it on camera because it was an afterthought, and like I said, I'd already turned the camera off. But pretty happy with getting a few of these little sequins on, and now I'm gonna kind of use the other side of my tool to make sure they're exactly where I want them. All right, I actually got this done in record timing. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I don't typically buy Echo Park embellishments because they're too wordy, and so that I would have to make my own. And I kept that really simple by just cutting some of the pattern papers into hexagons and layering another piece of pattern paper. I chose 1, 2, 3 B's, and then I also cut some more small hexagons from the second photo. That's an easy way to get more photos onto a layout, especially if you aren't needing larger photos. I pulled in some chipboard bits and some labels for journaling, got my journaling done, added some sequins, and I'm going to call this a completed layout. Again, for your reference, here is the original sketch. I stayed pretty true to it, kind of put my own spin on it a little bit. I really like how this turned out. Make sure that you check that playlist below and see what everybody else does with the day one sketch. You're going to be amazed. I guarantee it. I always am. You have a great Sunday, and I'll see you tomorrow.